Humans have a built-in reflex to look at a cluster of clouds and see a sailboat, or maybe a face staring back at them. Psychologists call this apophenia, our tendency to find meaningful shapes in completely random data. A giraffe's coat demonstrates how these organized geometric systems function in biology, using a stark white grid to divide patches of brown into distinct, repeatable shapes. Yet, if you look closely at these naturally occurring networks, they almost always lack the rigid, predictable architecture you would see in a math textbook. They are messy, missing the clear, strict center points that mathematicians use to construct perfect grids. Finding an organism that flawlessly executes a textbook geometric equation down to the exact millimeter is incredibly rare, which makes it all the more surprising where researchers recently found one. It's sitting right now in living rooms and office desks across the world, the Chinese money plant. To most of us, it's an ordinary, low-maintenance houseplant. If you examine one of its circular leaves, you'll notice small, distinct pores dotting the surface, called hydathodes. Surrounding those pores is a chaotic-looking web of looping veins. Those reticulate veins serve a highly specific biological purpose. They act as an internal pipeline network, tasked with actively pumping water and nutrients directly to those exact pores. Imagine a city planner trying to design a municipal water grid to service those precise locations with zero wasted pipe. They would need aerial maps, explicit distance measurements, and complex spatial formulas to calculate the most efficient routes. But a plant has no central brain. It doesn't own a ruler, and it certainly can't measure distances from a top-down perspective. How this specific leafy plant perfectly maps its internal plumbing has remained an open scientific question for decades. The mathematical solution is a Voronoi diagram. It takes scattered central points, drawing boundaries outward to create perfectly divided regions. In city planning, this math ensures every house inside a color-coded school district is always closest to its assigned school. When researchers at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory recently mapped the leaves of the Chinese money plant, they realized exactly what they were looking at. The plant's reticulate veins trace an absolute mathematical Voronoi pattern. In this biological map, the central pores act exactly like those local schools, and the looping veins act as the rigid mathematical boundaries, dividing the leaf tissue into perfectly optimized service zones for each individual pore. This structural grid provides the leaf with a mathematically optimized layout, prioritizing absolute efficiency over a more chaotic or random growth pattern. Which brings us right back to the central problem. A human planner needs a bird's-eye view and explicit calculations to draw those boundaries. How is a blind organism executing this math? The answer lies in what computer scientists call a natural algorithm. Instead of taking a top-down measurement, the plant relies entirely on a strict set of localized, bottom-up biological rules. Individual plant cells have no awareness of the overall leaf shape. They operate strictly on the ground level, growing and dividing simply by reacting to the immediate chemical signals given off by their closest cellular neighbors. By blindly following these basic chemical interactions on a microscopic scale, the cells push against each other in a coordinated wave. As they compete for space and distribute resources, the macro-level Voronoi pattern automatically emerges from the ground up. Through sheer chemical mechanics, the leaf naturally arrives at the exact same optimal spatial grid as a human mathematician. It constructs a flawless design without ever needing a conscious designer. This behavior extends far beyond a single plant species. It gives us a window into the broader mechanics of evolutionary biology. Over millions of years, evolution acts as a relentless optimizer. It consistently develops elegant biological algorithms as practical workarounds to incredibly complex spatial and logistical challenges. For botanists, observing this Voronoi pattern actively at work provides a highly plausible answer to the mystery of how reticulate veins form across hundreds of different plants. But for computer scientists and geneticists, decoding how organisms naturally solve distance problems offers a path to uncover the underlying mathematical principles that govern how all biological structures develop and grow. So the next time you water that little potted plant sitting in the corner of your room, take a closer look at the lines running across its leaves. This piece of green decor functions as a highly organized biological computer, silently executing millions of years of elegant mathematical code.
That's all for this explainer. Keep asking questions. And as always, stay curious.